Purpose of the cooling system, there's two things that the cooling system really cools. The first thing is the cylinder walls and the head. That's the typical place that most people view the cooling system as its purpose, what it's supposed to do. The other thing that most people don't look at is the fact that it cools the oil. And that could either be from the oil splashing up on the cylinder walls and being absorbed through the cylinder walls into the cooling system, or if you have an oil cooler that goes up in front of the radiator, it also helps cool it that way. So there's two things that this cooling system is actually trying to keep some sort of uniform temperature. If that cylinder or that engine doesn't maintain a uniform temperature, then it's going to cause distortion and it's going to cause a failure of some sort. We're going to talk about two different types of cooling systems. The two different systems will be air-cooled versus liquid-cooled. And primarily today I want to focus on liquid-cooled, but air-cooled is just important. And so when we get to the end, we're going to come back to some air-cooled stuff and what to look for. Reasons for running antifreeze. There's a couple of reasons. Most people look at it as lowering the freezing point. You put water in your radiator and it gets below freezing, it freezes, expands, cracks the block, cracks the radiator, does some pretty severe damage. So the number one purpose most people look at is to lower that freezing point to prevent damage. There are other things that it's used for. The other one is to raise the boiling point. If you run straight water in your radiator system, the boiling point actually is lower, and so your engine will actually boil at a lower temperature. In the hot of the summer, you can actually cause damage from overheating. And so we're actually going to raise that boiling point and help be more efficient. The third thing is going to be the fact that it lubricates this water pump. The water pump actually operates within the antifreeze, and the bearing that's on the inside runs in it. Water, if you put water in a bearing, what is it going to do? It's going to rust it, and it's going to cause damage. And so if I don't lubricate that bearing and that bushing, it's going to cause this thing to seize up. This water pump came out of the 455D that was in the other room over there. We changed the timing belt. It's real easy to get to this water pump when you change the timing belt, because it's the next step in the process of changing the timing belt. You know, to change the water pump, you take everything else off, and then this comes out. So we went ahead and changed it. And we only changed it because we were there. I'm going to pass it around. You feel this thing and try to turn it. It's pretty sticky. And so the fact that we had to put all the time and labor to get to it, we went ahead and changed it. This little water pump cost $256. Not a cheap decision, but you look at how much time it takes to get to it. If we wouldn't have changed it, it probably would have failed relatively soon. The cooling system, when we got into it, was pretty old. The antifreeze had been depleted, and so we had seen a lot of calcium build up, and the additives were obviously depleted in it, which is probably why this water pump actually went bad. The fourth reason, it's a rust inhibitor. If you put water, straight water, into an engine, it's pure metal. It's just raw metal in there. There's nothing to protect it, and it will rust really fast. Here's some liners that came out of an engine, and you can see the scale and the debris, the rust and stuff that's on here. If you just ran straight antifreeze, this would be just caked with rust. It would start attacking the metal and start eating and rusting through it. And it would take out that water pump very quickly. And so it actually acts as a rust inhibitor and protects the whole inner side of that cooling system that is all exposed. Why don't they go ahead and just pour paint through the cooling system and coat all that metal so that it doesn't need to be protected from rust in the water? Why would it burn up? Why would the engine get too hot if I was to coat those passageways with paint of some sort? What's that? Give me a reason. Just throw something out. Why do you think it would? Why don't we put paint in there? We protect the outside with paint. Why can't we put paint on the inside?
Different conditions on the inside and everything.
Different conditions? What is paint? Paint acts as an insulator, and so if we coated it with paint, protected it, it would be more material that the heat would try to transfer through, and paint doesn't transfer heat very well. And so we would actually be defeating the purpose. We're trying to get the heat away. So putting paint on there would defeat it, so we leave it bare and put some sort of protection in the antifreeze.